Hello everybody, Dave with Smiles Flies. For my first video ever on YouTube, I'm going to be tying up a zebra midge. So I like to put my hook in my jaws this way, especially when I'm doing these. I'll show you why in a second. It's just, I got to put a bead on it. And doing it this way makes it a whole lot easier to get the bead on. At least for me. I mean, I've seen other people do it too. Not everybody. Some people have the agility in their fingers to make it look like it's nothing. I'm not one of those people. So I just get it where I want it, set it on top of the hook, and drop it on, and there we go. And I'm going to stick it back into my Regal jaws. I have a 1970s Regal vise. Actually, I have two of them now. And boy, do I ever love these things. If you get a chance to get one of them and you're a fly tyer, if you like to tie on, these things are just amazing. They're very strong jaws. They're very well built. Regal has made themselves quite a name. Right now I'm going to lay down a thread base, and I'm going to come back to just a little tiny bit past the bend of the hook. Like the top part of this is called the shank. So I'm going to go a little bit beyond the shank into the bend. And then I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to wrap back to the head. So I'm going to come back about right there, because you don't want to get too far into the bend with these, because then it starts looking unnatural. I'm coming back up to the bead. I'm going to stop right there for a minute. I'm going to cut my tag end off. There's that. And now I need to get, this is some 0.2 millimeter. This is silver fly tying wire is what it is. So I'm getting a piece of that ready. Snipping it with my wire cutters. Set that back up out of the way. And the way I like to do this can be a little tricky, but I like to set it right on top of the shank of the hook and stick it up under the bead just a little bit. You don't want to go too far, because it'll stick out the front and make it look weird. So I caught it now. Now I'm going to, this is where thread control is everything. You got to really get your wraps right. So what I like to do is I like to lift up on the wire, and as I'm wrapping, I like to lay it on top of the wire, and it makes it lay right down against the last wrap of thread. So it's really a nice thing. And I'm going to take this back to approximately the exact same area I stopped my thread earlier. I'm going to go one more wrap. I think I'm going to stop one more, and then I'm going to wrap back up to the head, because we have to catch everything we're wrapping. And when I get up here, I'm going to go back and forth a little bit. I'm going to go back a little and back forward a little bit further. What I'm trying to do is build a little bit of a taper to the fly. Don't need much on these, but it doesn't hurt, that's for darn sure. So I'm going to stop with that and just leave my thread hang. And then I want to make open, very even open wraps going the whole way up to the head. I want to try to get as even as possible. And these are, like I said, these are called a zebra midge. One of the more effective patterns, probably one of the most effective patterns that has ever been tied. I don't know what it is about these, but they sure do catch the fish. Any of you guys out there who are fishermen, maybe even tyers and have fished, you know what I'm talking about. These things are amazing. And you just got to take your time to make sure you're getting them even. At least I like to do it. I'm a little bit picky about stuff, though. So I got to there. Now I'm going to tie it off right behind the bead. And I'll show you. I like to go probably 2-3 wraps behind, and then get a couple wraps up in front. What that does is it holds it all still, and then you can turn your vise a little bit. I have to, because of where I stop. I'm going to helicopter it right off of there. There it is. There's your zebra midge, but I take this one step further. I'm going to go ahead and do the whip finish. Nice 4-turn whip finish. Get that all out of your way. I like to wiggle it back and forth a little bit to make sure the knot seats real nice and well. And then for added security, some people use head cement. I personally, on this one, I like the looks of putting a little UV resin on it, a very light coat, and then curing it. And it does the same thing as the glue would do. It'll hold the thread real well. So I just take it and paint it a little bit. And if you want to use a real good resin, you want to get this stuff, UV craft resin. It gives you a nice tiny little brush. It's a little thinner than your average resin, so it doesn't bulk up on you. It lays real nice. The only thing that's bad is if you put too much on, obviously gravity is going to pull it down and leave a little bubble on it. So I like to do a little bit of spinning it back and forth to make sure it doesn't do that to me. And I'll get it where I want it, and then I'll just stop and I'll cure. And that is the Solarez UV resin light. It's the 980 nanometer light. It's like that's cured already. There's no, I'm just double checking, making sure. And there you have what's called the zebra midge. I'm going to maybe try to bring this up a little bit for y'all to see it, if it'll let me. Okay, so it's not going to let that happen. But anyway, I'll bring it up. There it is. That's a zebra midge. Get yourself some of these tied next time you go out fishing. These are really good early, all through the year. Midges are in the water all through the year, but it's one of the first patterns that hit the water is midges during the spring, early spring. These are just amazing for that. Thank you guys for joining me. I had a great time seeing you. We'll catch you all later. God bless.